Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for tonight's event, Haunted Locations on Long Island. My name is Jessica. I'm a librarian here at the Patchogue Library, and if you have any comments or questions or concerns, you can let me know. And I just wanted to let you know of some upcoming programs. There's one this coming Friday, July 23rd at 8:30 on the Carnegie Lawn called Full Moon Tie-Dye for adults. Um, you must register in advance and can do that by phone or on our website. And we also will have the Long Island Paranormal investigators come back in October. So keep your eyes peeled for their next newsletter for more details. So I just want to now turn it over to them and have fun.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael Carnito. I am the founder of Long Island Paranormal Investigators. I started the group back in 2003. We kind of started out on a dare. We were a bunch of friends just kind of playing hockey one day, and we were talking about all the different urban legends of Long Island, and Kings Park Psych Center came up. So I dared two of my friends to actually go into that building, Building 93, which you'll see later on in the presentation. And while they were in there, they heard a loud bang sound, freaked them out. They ran out. And ever since that day, me and the co founder, Rob Levine, would start looking up different urban legends of Long Island and found out that they sold equipment that goes along with some of the theories. So we bought some stuff and started investigating a bunch of urban legends of Long Island to see if there was any truth to what people were saying. And as the years went on, we kind of started doing house investigations, business investigations, and kind of just kept it going ever since. Connor, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure thing. Yeah. So my name is Connor Flanagan, and I am the assistant tech manager here in LIPI. I've been in the group for about 2 years or so, and I got my start in the group of working at the Southampton History Museum, where I'm the director of education. And we needed to get a program going on, much like one that we're watching right now. And that's when I met the Long Island Paranormal Investigators and sort of got involved. Do you want to introduce everybody, or should I just get started with our
Yeah,
first
we'll
section?
go through Michelle.
Hi guys, I am Michelle. I've been with the organization for maybe 3 years now. But oh, thanks. But I am the manager of public relations. I'm the events coordinator, and I'm part of the psych department as well. I have a daytime job not related to the paranormal whatsoever, but I do enjoy this 100%.
Tom?
Hi, I'm Tom O'Connell. I've been with the group for about 3.5 years now. I'm the case manager for the group, and I'm also the head of the religion department and the cryptozoology department. And I actually am representing Long Island Paranormal Investigators from the state of North Carolina. So I brought a little Long Island down to the south, and doing my best to spread the love down this way.
Good stuff. And Shannon?
Hi, I'm Shannon. I've been in the group for 10 years. I'm in the psychic department and in the stones department, and it's a ton of fun.
So we're gonna start our presentation now, and at the end we'll have like a 15-minute Q&A. So you can ask all your questions at the end of the presentation. All right, Connor, you're up.
All right. So, like I said, I'm the director of education at the Southampton History Museum in my normal day-to-day life. And the first place that we're going to talk about is my main office, the Rogers Mansion, located in Southampton, New York. You can actually see my office here. I usually spend most of my life right inside this small window. So a quick history on the location. The house itself was built by Captain Albert Rogers in about 1843. The Rogers family lived on the same property since about 1640 when Southampton was founded. And this is a detail of a map showing all the same Rogers that lived in that on that same piece of land. Albert died in 1854 in a whaling accident, and his wife Cordelia then lived in the home until her death of natural causes in 1888. Moving along, Dr. John Nugent then became the owner of the home in 1889. He was a local doctor and had a small office that he operated outside of the out of his house, and he started his young family in the home before selling it and moving just down the road, actually, where CVS is located today in Southampton. Funny that CVS sort of became out of a doctor's home. The last man to live in the house was Samuel Parrish, pictured here. Parrish bought the home in 1899. He did not have any children or anything like that. He got married later in his life when he was about 80 years old for the first time. And it was just him and his wife that lived in the home. And they lived there until about his death in 1932 in New York City. The house stayed within the family for a few years before it was sold to the Southampton Village. Since 1952, the Southampton Colonial Society, now known as the Southampton History Museum, began to lease the grounds. Today, the museum exists to preserve and promote the history and culture of Southampton and provide free education programs year-round. You can learn more about the museum going to our website, southamptonhistory.org. And one of such programs that we do there is investigate the paranormal, usually about once a month. And so what you see here are two photos of the inside of the house. What we have here is the front entry hallway if you were to walk in our front door. And right at the end, you see the living room, dining room area, which you can see in the upper photo. Before I play some of these EVPs that we've captured there while investigating with the Long Island Paranormal Investigators, this is actually the location where I saw my very first paranormal activity happen in the museum. So while most of the time I operate in there as an educator, I do also do all of our rental events. So if someone were to rent the museum for a wedding or something like that, I usually am the one that'll stay till the end to lock up the building. So in order to do so, you mostly have to walk around and turn off a lot of these lamps by hand. But the last switches are just out of frame in this photo here on the wall. And you have to close yourself in the room, hit the lights, then you can open the door and go into the kitchen to then leave. So for that split second at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're kind of just standing in pitch black by yourself. And it was always like a little spooky, but you know, I had done it a few times, never really thought much of it. But then one time as I was doing it, I turn around to grab the door to close behind me, and I look in this door frame here, and which I saw like a large shadow figure sort of leering at me, which was really off-putting and upsetting. And I just kind of ran out of the door. I got all freaked out. I didn't set the alarm. I made sure to be back at like 8:30 the next morning, so my boss and nobody knew that I forgot to lock up the building. But yeah, it was definitely spooky. Since then, I had had a few other things happen, hearing footsteps, seeing a few other shadows around, things like that. But things really, I didn't start seeing more until I guess I started looking once a month. And that's when we started getting a lot of this evidence that we'll see here. So what I'll do first is we'll play the first one here at the top. This is a Class A1 EVP saying, "Can I hurt you?"
And they lived here until 1889 when Dr. John Nugent had the home, who was a founding doctor of Southampton, and he had his doctor's office in the home. So there were surgeries performed here, there were births and deaths. We don't have exact records of these things, but a 10-year period of a doctor having an office, there's a lot. And then the Parrish family lived here from 1898 until like the...
So you can hear there's me telling some of the people after one of our investigations we did in the house, because we bring guests in to get the experience of doing a paranormal investigation. I'm explaining a little bit of the history of the home, and I'll jump back to the section where I believe it came up, and you can hear it sort of in a whispery tone, ask if it can hurt me, which is really nice.
And they lived here until 1889 when Dr. John Nugent had some of these things, but a 10-year period of a doctor having an office, there's a lot. And then
so that's fun. It's always a good time. This other one here, I think you're also going to hear me talking, is a Class A2 EVP of it saying my name. I actually think you hear it say my name twice, like right after each other. And this was not in the main building here, but in one of our outbuildings, which is a schoolhouse from the 1830s.
So that's why everything in here looks really nice and pretty and new. The original pieces are really the skeleton of the building. The cool point was when we took all the plaster off the walls, there used to be chalkboards on every wall in here, and the last...
So yeah, it's definitely an interesting moment getting to hear your own name called out during one of these investigations. And I mean, it makes a little bit of sense here because I've been working at the museum for about 6 years, and I spend too much of my life there. So whoever else is there is probably getting to know me pretty well. And this last one here is probably my favorite audio clip. I think maybe the group's favorite audio clip from my museum. This happened on the first time we ever did a public investigation back into 2018. To set this up, we finished with the guests. I was not in the group yet. The guys had asked, "Hey, can we investigate a little more?" I said, "Sure." I went up to my office to put in the attendance numbers for the night, and I said, "Go wherever you want, have fun." And about 30 minutes went by, and then that's when this happened.
If you want us to leave, make a loud noise and we'll leave. Stop! Are you kidding me? Was that you? Are you serious? Alright, we gotta go.
My apologies for the somewhat foul language there. Yeah, so that we have our one very own Tom O'Connell down in the basement of Rogers Mansion, asking if you want us to leave, make a loud noise, and we'll leave. A few seconds go by, and then, as you heard it, a light bulb explodes on the ground. So here we have a photo that was taken immediately after it. So the person who took this photo, his name is Will. He was standing right here, and you can see the light bulb smashed on the ground here. Tom was sitting, I would say, probably about 40 feet, 50 feet diagonally away from him on the other side of the basement. And so you can hear really how loud that was when the light bulb smashed. Something that we do when we bring the guests in is that we show them around this area. And I mean, as you can see, I got a lot of stuff on these shelves, sort of extra display stuff that we have out. But we don't really have light bulbs here. This isn't light bulb storage. This is more teapots and china, which is why I got really nervous when I heard what happened, because I thought maybe somebody bumped something over. And since then, I've left the light bulb sitting up on this shelf, A, hoping maybe they'll throw it at Tom again, and B, to see sort of if it will ever just casually get knocked over. And since 2018, it hasn't happened. So there's a little lip on the shelves. It's not just going to roll on its own. It needs a little a little gusto to really get that to fly off. The other, I think the last piece of evidence that I'm going to show you guys right now is the second photo that was taken somewhere between 1 to 5 seconds after this photo, which is right here. So what we see here is a somewhat strange shadow blocking out this whole side of the photograph. So if we go back, you can see the main photo here. We go forward, we see this one. What makes this really interesting is the group, we did our best to try and recreate this, putting a finger over the lens, part of the hoodie sleeve over it, blocking out the light, the flash, everything, anything you could think of, really just trying to debunk this. Because, I mean, kind of the main thing that LIPI does is really trying to debunk things. We're not trying to maybe prove that ghosts are real, more so trying to also disprove things and really, and I mean, prove our own things wrong. Try and find out every crack that you can find in it to really prove that we have some good stuff. And the other part of this that's really interesting is how it's thick here, but then in the back, you can sort of see the reflection of the metal, and it sort of gradually fades away here. It's just overall a really strange photo. Couple that with the EVPs that we also caught that night, the incident with the light bulb, it's just a lot of compounding evidence. We have a lot more evidence that you can check out on the museum's website, southamptonhistory.org/ghosts. There's a link you can see. I think we have probably about 20 or 30 other EVPs just from the museum that you could check out that are all pretty interesting. But without talking too long about Rogers, I'm going to pass it off to Shannon to talk about the other museum property. So go ahead, Shannon.
Okay. The other property is my favorite, the Thomas Halsey Homestead. It's like one of the oldest houses in Southampton, I believe, or is it just Southampton?
So it's the oldest English style house in the state of New York. That's our little tagline. Okay.
So there you go. It's located on Main Street in Southampton, and it goes back a long, long time. Prior to 1640, it was a part of the Shinnecock tribe land, and they kind of made a deal with the settlers, which was Thomas Halsey and a bunch of other people. that if they kind of gave them a little bit of protection from the other tribes, that they would be able to settle there. And so they built the Thomas Halsey house around 1648, I believe. And then it was rebuilt by his son in, I think, 1684.
So it was, the first house was built sometime around 1640s, and then that house burnt down, which was the seniors, and then the juniors was built sometime after 78. We say 83 just to sort of be roughly right. But
okay. Yeah, it's my favorite. I love it. So a lot of people live there other than the Halsey family, but we've been investigating there for a while, and I feel like we get a lot of the Halsey people. I don't know about anyone else. They haven't made themselves clear. But so it was owned for a while by different families, and then in 1958, the Southampton History Museum took it over and kind of refurbished it back to its original state for the most part. And so so that's what it looks like. And we have gotten a bunch of evidence from it, but we picked just some of our more clearer evidence to play for you today. So.
I left my audio up there. Oh, okay, cool. Are you leaving it there while we leave? Or are you leaving it there just for this? Oh, I just left it up there just because.
So you could hear a male voice under us talking. You hear it first say no, and then it says yes. So it's pretty cool.
Connor, can you replay that?
I left my audio up there. Oh, okay, cool. Are you leaving it there while we leave? Or are you leaving it there just for this? Oh, I just left it up there just because.
Yeah. So that's one. And then this one's fun. It might also have some bad language, because sometimes things just catch you off guard and you just don't expect it, and things just come out of your mouth. This,
potty mouth.
yes. So this was an unexplained metal crash, and I think it was Tom and Dimitri. Okay.
That was a little yell after you left. I figured it would. Did you move that? I just walked in front of it. Uh-huh. So I was sitting out in that front room where the table is. Yeah. Oh, what the fuck was that? Are you kidding me? I'm not joking. Like, there's been all kinds of noises since you left. Like that. Holy shit.
Yeah, and I can say a lot of people, I think when we've played that one before, first go to like a window slamming shut, a door, gutters, things like that. I mean, there's nothing like that on this house that could happen. I mean, you can see the whole outside. We don't have gutters. It's very annoying because it's a problem. We don't have gutters on a house, but it's not historic to have them, which is why we don't. The windows, as you can see, aren't sort of the slidey ones that would slam down, and also we don't open them during the night because then all the bugs would fly in. And anything that's in there that's metal are really big, heavy objects. And because it's a museum, everything's secured. We don't just have stuff leaning weirdly around. So yeah, I was really baffled when this happened. Again, scared something got broken, but yeah.
And just to like elaborate a little bit on that. So prior to that happening, I was actually alone in this house. I was with Dimitri. He had left to go get Mike and Shannon and come back. And when I was sitting there, I heard very clear footsteps walking from the back of the house to the front of the house where I was sitting. Like so much so, like I thought someone was messing with me. Like I thought Dimitri had come back in the house and was sneaking around to try and scare me. That's what it sounded like. And then when I went investigated, there was no footsteps. That was on the main level. Then all of a sudden I heard footsteps upstairs. So I called the guys. I said, you might want to come back. There's some stuff going on here. And pretty much right after they got back, Dimitri and I were standing in, we called the loom room. I'm sure there's a better name for it, Connor. But, and that's when we heard that noise. I mean, it was, I don't even think that's the case where I don't think the EVP did it justice. It was really loud. Like it sounded like someone dropping like a sledgehammer into a metal bucket. Like it was that loud. It you know, as you could hear, it scared the hell out of us.
So I just want to do like a little pre-thing before we play this one. This is right as we're going over an introduction. We have people that come and they investigate with us monthly, like Connor was saying before. So we were just doing an introduction about who we were and what they were going to expect as far as the investigation goes through the night. And this is in the background, and you can hear us not even reacting to it at all. So it's a little intense, but.
Sounds so much better with headphones on.
Yeah.
If you want to play it again, what you're listening for is in the background. You hear like somebody like screaming. That's what you're listening for. So Connor, if you could play that again.
Yeah, I think that one's, I really find that one interesting because I think I remember when, I don't know if that was the first one that we played, but I think we've caught two or three that are similar to this. And I remember the first one I heard in the office, I think everyone was really into it. And I kind of thought in my head, like, I think it's just neighbors. Like, but I was like, well, whatever. And then we proceeded to catch, I think, two or three that are very much the same. And I'm like, so I don't think the neighbors are screaming for help this often. So yeah, it was a definitely a weird one.
Yeah. So I love this place. I can't say it enough. It's like one of my favorite places just because I like history so much. And like even without all the EVPs and evidence we get, you just go in there and you can like feel the history and like see how people lived back then. And it's just really interesting to me. It's one of my favorite places. So.
And I just want to throw in, like, I can say since I've been with the group and places we've investigated, this is the only place I can honestly say every time I've investigated there, I've had some sort of experience and or evidence. That's the only place I can say that about.
So some of the other stuff that we picked up there was you hear footsteps above you, sometimes heavy footsteps. You can hear sometimes people audibly speaking, male and female. So, you know, we don't know if it's people that live there, if it's definitely the Halsey family, or if it's any of the other families that have passed through there, or both, or if it's Native Americans that used to be on the land. But it's a cool place to go. You can actually go there. I think it's July through September, Saturdays. You can make an appointment, I believe. I'm not sure if it's open yet, but 11 a.m. to 4, I think, is the hours it used to be. So you can take a tour, and it's really, really cool. And they have beautiful gardens in the back as well. So
yeah, my curator is actually cleaning it tomorrow. So if you book a tour tomorrow, it'll actually be looking nice. So
nice.
Get rid of all the spider webs.
Yep. I think that's pretty much it for me. I don't know who goes next.
So Kings Park Psych Center, like I said, this was the one place where the group kind of got started. Building 93, this is the building that I dared two of my friends to go into back in 2003. And they were in there for, I want to say, about an hour and 45 minutes. They had a really crappy video camera, flashlights, and then the rest of us, there was a group of four of us. We actually parked, and there's like a bar across the street called D.S. Shanahan. So we parked in there waiting, and we were trying to walkie them the whole time, anticipation of finding out what's going on. And we're reading the stories of what's going on in this place. And you know, they would get back to us here and there. And I'll never forget at the end of the investigation, like the hour and 45 minutes they were in there, they just yelled on the walkies, pick us up, there's a loud bang. And they came running out on the road and they jumped in the car. And when we reviewed the video camera, you actually can hear the loud bang sound, and the camera actually shuts off, which is pretty interesting. So this kind of sparked the interest more of diving into these locations and seeing what's really going on here. So everyone on Long Island that's into this types of stuff knows Kings Park Psych Center. It's one of the biggest facilities in the U.S. It's not the biggest, but it is one of 4 on Long Island. This is there's Kings Park, they had Centralized Slip, Edgewood, and Pilgrim. Pilgrim was actually the biggest psych center on Long Island. But Kings Park has tons of buildings, starting off with Building 93. Building 93 was built in the 1930s. I think it opened in 1939, mainly used for like drug treatment and geriatric care. When you look at the building, it's very intimidating. Just because a building is big and overwhelming doesn't mean that it's crazy haunted. We've been in this building a couple of times. Ever since that first time, we really haven't caught much evidence in this location, in Building 93. But yeah, you can go there during the daytime and check it out. You can't go inside. I'm not telling you can't go in. If you do that, that's on your own accord. But that's Building 93. If you want to click to the next slide. This is Building 7. This is actually an old picture of Building 7. Building 7 was built in 1966. It was used as a medical surgical facility. The morgue is also in this building. While you're looking at this building, I say this is an older picture because on the top of the building, you see that cube-shaped thing. That's actually gone now. They took that off. I don't really know the reasons why they took it off. I know there was a lot of communication stuff with police department communications and stuff. So I think that could be the reasons why. But Building 7 is like the main hospital of the facility. It's connected through a breezeway to buildings 21 and 22. This whole section of Kings Park Psych Center always creeps me out because it's kind of like in the back area. And the morgue, if you know where you're looking, so as you're looking at this building on the far right in the back area, though, behind the building, that's where the morgue would be. And if you know what you're looking for, you can kind of peek through one of the broken windows and see all the refrigeration stuff and all. It's all spray painted, but you can still kind of get an idea of it. There's a lot of tunnels flowing through the facility. There's one tunnel that goes below 7, filters out to 21 and 22, and then connects Building 7 to 93, which is, if you've ever been at the location, it's such a huge facility where on the main boulevard, the tunnel runs underneath the main road, which is pretty cool. I've been in there a couple of times. It's creepy. First time I've ever been in a tunnel mission was by Building 7. We got dropped off and we were with a group called Long Island Oddities. I don't think they're still around anymore. But we pulled off this, it looked like a sewer hatch, and we pulled that down, and it was a tunnel entrance, and there's a ladder that dropped down 15 feet, so we go down there. I'm the last guy, so it's like, I got to pull the cap over, and I'm climbing down this ladder, and that's where the tunnel ended. And as you're walking through the tunnel, there's a big giant steam pipe, so as you're looking through the steam pipes, you could see below the buildings, and you could see buildings 21 and 22, and then the tunnel just kept going. So we got to like the third hatch, and then we popped up into Building 7, and we came up the stairs and walked right to the morgue. It was wild. And then when we came back out, we came back the same way, and I was the last guy coming up the tunnel entrance. And I have the wall to the left of me, and then to the right of me is just this tunnel that just goes for probably a good 3/4 of a mile. And I just kept staring at the stairwell, waiting for the next guy to go up so I can get up there. I just felt like somebody was standing next to me staring at me. It was like the creepiest feeling. But yeah, it's Building 7. You can go with the next slide. This is building number 15. Building 15, we were doing a lot of research on this because a lot of people were saying that Building 15 was the criminally insane building. And we gone in there, and when you're walking around the building, it doesn't seem that way. It's very open. There's day rooms. So if it was to house criminally insane, it just didn't add up. So through our research, we actually found out that Building 15 was built in 1939, and it originally held like some violent patients until Building 21 and 22 were built, and then everyone got transferred. I think it only held 7 patients at one time that were violent in its history. Building 15, also known as the Wisteria House, mainly treated drug rehab. That's basically what that building was used for. It's pretty creepy inside. I've been there inside that building once. Did a little mini investigation, didn't really catch much, but I never been in there at nighttime. It's only been in this building during the day. So, it's hard to say. I would love to go back in. Eventually, I probably will. So, next one. This is building 22. 21 and 22 are kind of connected. If you folded them in half, it would be an exact replica of each side. Building 21 and 22 started to be built in 1957, completed in 1967. Part of it was used as admin, drug abuse patients, and also housed the criminally insane. There's a section in this building, I want to say it's on like the 3rd or 4th floor, where when you go into those rooms, it's not like any other room in the entire facility. These rooms have they look like cages almost. Like you couldn't, so they have like a radiator for heat, and there's a cage over it. I've never seen that in any other rooms in Kings Park. So we did some research, and we found out, sure enough, this is the building that all the criminally insane patients kind of went to once the facility was really up and running. So I've been in this building quite a few times. It is creepy. I would say, for me personally, at nighttime, this is probably one of the creepiest buildings on the facility to go into. I don't know if it's just because it's so pushed off in the back or just what it was used for. But yeah, it's pretty wild. Next one. Then we have, this is one of my personal favorites, building 41, 42, 43 in Kings Park. This was actually the first building I ever got into. I wasn't in 93 when I dared 2 of my friends to go in. This was the first one I went into. This is also called the Quad. They call it the Quad because when you look at it from an aerial view, it's 4 sections that are identical. Once again, if you folded this building in half of it is female ward, the other half is the male ward. The center of it is the kitchen area. Really cool building. It's like a maze in there. You can go in this building and get lost very easily, especially at nighttime, because it is dark as hell in there at night and you can't see anything. And there's a lot of different corridors. What really throws people off is as you walk through the building, in the middle of the building, there's courtyards. So you might get to a doorway and open it up and be like, all right, cool, I'm outside. You're just in the middle courtyard. You ain't getting out. It's not like the outside area that you see here. So it can really throw you off. We did capture some really cool evidence here once. We were doing an overnight investigation, and we had a group of I want to say 5 or 6 of us. And there's an entranceway where you kind of you drop down to the basement area and you come up the stairs. So we were on the first floor, heading to the second floor on the stairwell. And as we got to the top, the moonlight was coming in underneath the doorway, and we saw it get blocked out by a shadow. So we kind of froze because you don't know if is it a ghost? Is it a person? Is it security? You really don't know. So everyone kind of froze, and then it went away, and we went into that room, and it was a huge day room, and we're all kind of standing in there, and we had our equipment out, and we started getting unusual hits on our equipment, EMF readings, which is electromagnetic field, radio frequency readings. And we felt like at one point there was multiple doorways to enter into that room, that somebody was standing in each doorway just staring at us. And some people were getting freaked out. So we're like, all right, you know what, let's just get out of this room. Let's go to the other side of the building. So we went to the other side, investigate a little bit more. and it was kind of quiet. So everyone's like, "You want to go back to the other spot?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's go back." So we went back, and we didn't feel what we felt there before, which was really cool. So this is one of my favorite, you know, but that's building 41, 42, 43. Next. Okay, so this is one of the rooms that I was talking about in building 21 and 22. There's like this cage doorway that leads to like it blocks off the window and the radiators in there as well. I don't see rooms like this in like the quad building 93 or anything like that. It's only in 21 and 22. So next. Okay, and then we have the Potter's Fields. So there's an urban legend that there's definitely two of them. One is right behind William T. Rogers Middle School. If you walk the pathway, you'll come up to a huge field, and that's Potter's Field. This is one of them. The other one is located off of Indian Head Road, which I think is closed. I don't think you can get into it. It's like the gate's locked. This one you could walk into, but the one on Indian Head Road you cannot. The third one, people say that um, under Kings Park High School track, there was a Potter's Field there. And when they built the school, they kind of built right over it. I don't know how true that is. I've been trying to do some research on it, but I'm not really able to find anything. So, but there are two main Potter's Fields. The main stone that you see here, the plaque, that's right in front of it. The one on Indian Head Road has the same one, and then to the kind of like the bottom right hand corner, you see like a rectangle stone, and if you go up a little bit from that, you see another one. It's in bad shape. They kind of just mow over everything, so a lot of the stones have like 3 inches of just dirt and grass over it. You really can't see it. If you go there in the fall when the grass is dead, you can actually see the imprints of the caskets actually are caving in. So it's kind of creepy. But we're trying to see if we can get a team to go in there and try to help out restore Potter's Fields, just clean it up a little bit. But we did capture an EVP here that we're going to play for you guys. So you want to play that?
You want to describe that? Don't drop it.
You want to play that one more time? So EVP stands for electronic voice phenomena. Just to give you guys a quick rundown of what we're playing for you guys. That's audio. We all carry audio recorders. And basically what we're looking for are voices like that we don't hear at the time. The different class system that we have, most paranormal teams use a class A, B, C, and D. We went further with it. Basically, a class A EVP is I can play it for 100 people and everyone agrees what's being said. Class B is 50-50. Some people think it's saying one thing. Some people think it's saying another. A class C, you have multiple people thinking 3 or more things that they're throwing out that they think they hear. And a class D is something that you can hear, you just can't make it out. We went a little further. We do A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. That's just clarity. A1 is super clear. You do not need headphones. A2, it's clear enough. You can tell what's being said, but you need headphones. So that's just to give you a rundown of the class system with EVPs. Okay, Connor. Okay, Michelle, you're up.
Michelle, you're muted. Yep, no problem.
One of us was sure to do it.
And we knew it would be you.
Yeah, of course. So, Five Corners Cemetery in Lake Ronkonkoma. It's also known as Lake Ronkonkoma Cemetery. It was established in 1862. Many locals were actually buried in this location, including the Newtons, the Hawkins, the Taylors. The cemetery is known to also house many war veterans, dating all the way back to the Civil War. And although there was no history that actually took place in this area, the location seemed to attract a lot of paranormal activity. Some of the things that we have encountered there are shadow people, unexplained noises, cold spots, uneasy feelings, balls of light, and shirt pulling and pooping. There have been apparitions seen by various neighbors and by a few of our investigators as well. There have been a few of these. And one of the things with cemeteries, people seem to think that they're always haunted. And that's usually not the case in a lot of times. I've been to many investigations with the team in the 3 years that I've been with the team. And a lot of times they're really, really just very quiet and peaceful. A lot of people seem to think that people follow their bodies when they die, and that's simply not true. A lot of them just want to cross the bridge, go to the other side, be peaceful. Sometimes they come back, they check on their loved ones. Sometimes they do interact with you, but very, very far and few between you actually find somebody still hanging out of the cemetery. I think only the living hang out in the cemetery because it's a focal point to remember our loved ones who have passed on. So, given that, we in the psychic department also think that towards the back of that cemetery, that there could be a little bit more going on back there, but we actually haven't confirmed it. And I believe there are some EVPs and things, Connor. Can you explain to you those? This, I believe this particular photo was taken by one of our investigators on their own, right, Mike? They went there without the team, and they just so happened to shoot a picture, and they got this one interesting apparition type photo. It seems to be holding a flag and a couple other things. You can see some of the outlines of a human figure, hands, the legs. Is it truly an apparition? Maybe. Is it a big ball of mist or something? Maybe. I wasn't on this investigation with the investigators, so I can't say yay or nay whether or not it's actually a true apparition. But it's a really good picture. Do you have something to play for them? That one says forgive us. I can't see behind. I have my line of people right over what it says. So.
Yeah, that one says forgive us. It's right at the start. It's kind of quiet because, like Mike said, it's an 8-2. I'll play it again for everybody. And then the other one we have is a class A1 EVP female voice saying, help me.
My computer something? Or?
You can, or he can burn it on a disk view and give it to you next week.
Yeah, I can do either or. It's probably better because I don't have a burner, so it's going to eventually have to get burned, and then I'm going to have to take the equipment home. Okay. I don't mind taking it home.
Do you have any more EVPs for?
No, that's it for this one.
Do you want to play the help me again?
Yeah, I'll play the help me again. Just sort of right near the end.
My computer something? Or?
You can, or he can burn it on a disk view and give it to you next week.
Yeah, I can do either or. It's probably better because I don't have a burner, so it's going to eventually have to get burned, and then I'm going to have to take the equipment home. Okay. I don't mind taking it home.
Right there towards the end. It's very,
yep.
Don't think that you can make it out.
All right, we'll go to the next one.
My computer something?
All right, so last but not least, probably one of our favorite spots to investigate, and I would say we probably would all agree, arguably the most active place on Long Island. And if you're from Long Island, chances are you are familiar with Mount Misery Road. So it's located in Huntington. It is on basically the area between 110 and 25. So if you've ever been up back through the back roads there, Sweet Hollow Road, that whole area. The reason it got its name Mount Misery was it was actually given by the settlers who, because of the treacherous terrain And because of ominous warnings from the Native Americans who said that the land was cursed, it kind of picked up that reputation and that name, and it's kind of stuck over the years. So some of the stories about Mount Misery was there back in the 1700s, there was a hospital there, and there was a patient named Mary who had actually escaped the hospital a couple times. And then the one story was the last time she escaped, she actually set fire to the hospital and burned it down. I know we've tried over the years to find evidence of that, both written and on the site. We found what could possibly be the area, but we don't know for sure. But that's one of the more popular stories there. So the area itself is actually really large. So we actually have broken it down to multiple locations that we investigate. Pretty much it's split by Northern State Parkway, where we have on the north side of the Northern State, we have it broken down to what's called Site 1 and Site 2. Site 1 is basically the area where you walk, where we park and walk in from. So going from east to west. And then Site 2 would be all the way over on the far left side of that map there. And then on the south side of the Northern State, that's considered Site 1. So we broke it down just because it is such a huge area. We need to be able to know where we are and document that location. So Site 3 is probably the one that we have spent the most time in, and largely because that's where we've gotten a lot of our evidence. We've gotten a lot of EVPs, we had a lot of personal experiences there. We've had everything from feelings to seeing shadow figures to seeing other unknown things. I'll leave it at that. And we also believe, based on some of the activity, that there could be possible low-level demonic type activity going on there. So definitely had some creepy stuff there. So Connor, if you've got those EVPs, photo first. So this is actually a photo that was taken there. It's one of our investigators, Dimitri. You see his arm, he actually had felt a cold spot and mentioned it, said, my arm feels really cold right now. So someone took a picture and you see what appears to be a ball of light or an orb coming out of his arm. Now, you always hear about orbs on TV and whatnot. Most of the time what people think are orbs are just dust. Like you can even see behind Dimitri, like that's dust or that's water vapor. An actual orb, something we would consider paranormal, would be something like that, where it actually is giving off its own light source. So the fact that he was feeling something and this photo was taken definitely gives this some credibility. All right, and then these are some of our EVPs we got. I don't know if Mike wants to jump in a little bit since this was he was here for this.
Yeah, so just to set you up, so this is taken from Site 2. So basically, if you're driving down Sweet Hollow Road, you pass Northern State Overpass, you keep going down, and you're going to hit a stop sign that's Chichester. You make the left on Chichester, take that all the way down till you can't go no more. You hit Mount Misery Road. You make another left, take that all the way down to the end, you hit a dead end, and it's in those woods. So it was the first time we went to Site 2 is what we call it. And we had about 10 of us that night. We're walking down the pathway. I'm the last guy in the line. So as we're walking down the pathway, it's pitch black, and I keep feeling like there's something behind me. So I turn around and look, and I see a shadow person, which is basically a figure, like a humanoid figure that's just dark mass, cross the pathway. Now, I don't say anything. I don't want to startle the team. It's our first night out at this location. So we keep going, and we start getting a static on our walkie-talkies, like a sound. We really didn't think anything of it. And we get to this spot where there's a red fire hydrant where the main path can split off to another one. And this is what we caught. And this came over our walkie-talkies. So if you want to start playing them, Connor. That one says they're here, and it actually says it twice. Then we'll jump to the next one.
Somebody's here now. Please tell us your name.
So we asked, you know, can you please tell us your name? Now, we're not asking this through the walkies. We're just asking it aloud. And through the walkie, we get, my name is, and it cuts out. I'll play the next one.
Over here. Stop. Please let me out. Please let me out.
Please let me out. And go to the next.
Over here. Stop, Mike. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. If somebody is here, please give us a sign that you're here with us.
Basically said, I'm burning a couple times, which kind of goes along with the myth, urban legend that there was a hospital there, got burnt down. You know, who knows if somebody passed away in it. We don't know. We can't find any information, but this is what we caught. We haven't caught this stuff since we've gone back there, but I don't know. Swing to the next one. So that was site 2. Okay. So these next ones are at site 3. Mount Misery Road, site 3. When you're driving down Sweet Hollow Road, you're going to cross over the Northern State overpass, which is right there. And your first road on the right-hand side is where we would park. You cross over Sweet Hollow Road, and there's like a dead end road. It's got one of those metal gates. That's site 3. That's where we investigate. That's where we believe that there's a lot more negative type energy there. Back in the 70s, people were doing satanic rituals in those woods, and whatever they summoned up kind of is still lingering around, which we've come in contact with. This first EVP, the best way I could describe it is it's kind of sounds like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. It's saying, what is this? Is it safe? So, you want to play it?
Go. Wait, cross the street. You're here. Cross the street. It's down. That's down.
So yeah, and we don't hear this. If you hear us in the background, we don't acknowledge this. This is during the analysis when we're at home playing back the audio and we're getting this and we're like, what the hell is this? This next one, which was the same night, this is what we call a VP, which is voice phenomena, where you're able to hear it at the time it's being recorded. And this clip, I think, lasted about 1 minute and 30 seconds. And we're out here at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And you start to hear this woman screaming at the top of her lungs. So you can play it.
Is that a whistle?
Don't move.
Getting closer.
Say help.
Yes,
I need your eyes that way. Look.
you look behind us.
What is that?
Sounds like a girl.
Yep. So that's something, like I said, we call a VP. We actually heard that while it's happening. It only lasted like 1.5 minutes and then just stopped. We didn't hear it for the rest of the night. So I don't know. It's pretty weird. We've been investigating Mount Misery for years. Site 3, with every time we investigate, we do a field report and we track all of our readings, all of our analysis, whatever we get. And we were able to track on our field reports the best time to go at Site 3 throughout the year. And it's basically broken up with the 2-week span. during a certain month where we know we go there, we're going to get evidence. So we even took it further. It's almost on a 7-year cycle. So at the 7th year, it's at its peak, goes crazy, and then every year after that, it kind of dissipates, and then that 7th year again, bam, it pops. It's the craziest thing. Like I can't explain it, but yeah, it's in our field reports. Like when you look at the data, it's there. It's wild. So that's why we do that. So it's one of our like best locations to prove like, hey, this stuff happens during this time. It's just awesome. So I think, do we have any more from there? I think that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Awesome. So that concludes our presentation. I'm sure people have questions. So I don't know how we're doing a Q&A, but yeah, we could do a Q&A. However,
If you want to ask a question, just unmute yourself. But I just had one. Basically, how many other places have you investigated, or are you investigating any other places that you didn't mention?
oh yeah, there's probably on Long Island alone, I would say we probably have about 50 to 60 locations on just Long Island, and then throughout the country, we've investigated. Every year we go up to Lake George Battleground, Fort William Henry. We go to Gettysburg like 2 to 3 times a year, and there's a ton of sites at Gettysburg. There's another place in Lake Shawnee that we go to, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. We're usually in the tri-state area. I personally have traveled cross country. I've been to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. I've also been to the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California, which was awesome. So I've actually, that was a while ago. I did those back in like 2008. We also did like Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia. And then we just did Penhurst Asylum in Pennsylvania about 2 months ago, I think it was. And that was our second time doing that one. So, which was really
have
cool.
a question.
Sure.
Have you been to Patchogue?
I'm sorry, where?
Have you been to Patchogue on Main Street?
The ladies, there's 2 sisters.
The 3 sisters in Patchogue on Main Street.
And you hear them screaming at night.
Really? We've
Yes.
There's a couple places we've investigated in Patchogue. One called the Hang Tree that's located in Patchogue, and then we've also investigated Lakeview Cemetery a couple times. And then we used
the one on Main Street, I understand there's 3 sisters that they actually scream at night. People go there and they heard them do it.
Really? No, I've never actually heard the place. So I'll definitely check that out. Absolutely. So it's on Main Street.
Yes, I actually know somebody that did go there, and there's the 3 sisters that actually heard them. It's amazing, and this girl literally got the goosebumps on this. And I'm very surprised you guys aren't there today.
Yeah, no, I never heard of it.
YMCA on Main Street. It's the Lakeview. He was there. But you said the Lakeview.
I've heard those.
Where is it?
That is the Lakeview Cemetery.
Lakeview Cemetery?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, at night they said they actually hear people talking in there.
Yes.
And I'm very surprised I didn't see it tonight. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I don't mean to get,
No, absolutely. We'll definitely check out. I mean, we've done Lakeview Cemetery a couple times, but we go to these locations 30, 40 times, and sometimes it takes time to get out.
Try the 3 sisters.
Yeah, we definitely will.
3 sisters. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
No problem. No problem.
God bless. And stay well.
You too. Thank you.
Somebody in the chat asked what times are the hours at the Halsey house. What the hours are.
So yeah, the Halsey house. So it is typically open in the summertime. So like roughly July to September, October. And if you ever want to visit, you can just call the Southampton History Museum, which is 631-283-2494. And you can, whoever picks up, ask them for a tour, and we'll schedule it for you. It's typically $5 a person.
Can you put the phone number in the chat, please?
That I will.
And what's your website again? What's your website? Oh, jeez. I do.
We could, I'm going to type it in the chat as well, but it's www.lipanormal.com. paranormalinvestigators.com. So I'm going to put it in the chat as well.
Okay.
And here I pulled it up for you too, for the people who are interested in the haunted locations we've been to. On our website, if you go to the haunted locations tab, we actually have it broken down into Suffolk County, Nassau, the 5 boroughs, New York State, California, Colorado, basically every place we've been to in one form or another, even Bermuda. And if you click on each one of those, you can see different
I'll go to Bermuda with them.
other links that'll take you to different places that we've investigated. And they'll show you a picture, usually a little bit of history. If there's a place we have a lot of stuff going on, we might have a bigger article. But yeah, as time goes on, these pages only keep getting bigger and bigger.
What was that again? WW Paranormal what?
LI
Yeah.
paranormalinvestigators.com.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say I went to Gettysburg a month ago and did the Farnsworth Inn. I don't know if you've been. That place I had the most wild experience there. But have 2 quick questions. One, I know that there's a lot of psychics, a lot of mediums live in Long Island. Like, is there a reason why mystics are so drawn to Long Island? Is there something about the land that's just different? And then my second question is, what do you do? I'm always curious what investigators do to feel confident that they're not taking something home with them that could be dangerous.
So I'll start with your second question first. The paranormal field is a very dangerous field. I tell everybody this, that anybody that wants to join our team, and that's something I say in the interview process, is that this is a very dangerous field. What a lot of us try to do when we leave a location is we try to say, like, whatever's here, stay here. You cannot follow us home. And most of the time that works, but there are times it doesn't work and it does follow you home. And it's, it's a lot, we investigate every week. We go out, our meetings are Thursday nights, and we're out there every Thursday night investigating, and then on the weekends sometimes. So it's bound to happen, we have a lot of knowledge in a lot of different fields, in demonology, jinn, shadow people, elementals. So we kind of know how to deal with each aspect of the paranormal. And we're a group. So, if one person's going through something, we all help out. We get them through that. There are times that it happens, and most of the time it doesn't, but it can, it's tough. As far as your first question, Shannon is she is our group psychic. So I don't know if she wants to answer that.
I just think that it's something that people are more open with now. I'm not sure if it has to do with a specific area. I wish I could answer that for you clearly. I honestly, I'm not sure. I do know that there is a village called Lilydale. I think it's upstate or something. And there's some place in Arizona where a lot of sensitive people are drawn to those areas too. So I'm not sure if it's a very good question. I really wish I could answer it for you. I don't know if it's the area or if it's that people are a little bit more open to accepting this metaphysical and all that other stuff, now. And so I don't know. That's a good question.
Thank you both.
No problem. Any other questions?
That's the awkward part about Zoom lectures. You never know when it's done. Someone's trying to unmute.
I had a question.
Sure.
At the Five Corners Cemetery, where you showed the two photos, sorry, EVPs, were those both from the same spot? Where you heard those?
No, probably not. We capture evidence from different spots of the cemetery. A lot of times when we're doing it, we don't actually say like where we are in the cemetery, so it's hard. But I know for a fact, like, there are 2 different spots of the cemetery that I know we've captured audio evidence from. It's more towards, I guess, if you like parked at the church and like walk in the back end, that whole section in the back is where we usually capture our stuff. We try not to go towards like the front, towards I think it's Hawkins Avenue's right over there, because like the cars and everything. But usually it's in two different spots, not right in the same spot. So
I had someone just ask you, how did you get into this, like into investigating?
Um, me as a kid growing up, I used to have like reading comprehension problems. Like I would read a book and I couldn't tell you what the hell I read. But if I read something about ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, I would just get it. And so I've always been fascinated with the paranormal field. And when growing up on Long Island, you deal with all the urban legends, Mary's Grave, Kings Park Psych Center, and I was always into that stuff. The Lady of the Lake, Lake Ronkonkoma. And when I dared two of my friends to go into 93 in Kings Park and they had that experience, it kind of like drew me in. And then we found out that they sold equipment that goes along with the theories, and we started buying stuff, and I just been hooked ever since. Like I love doing what I do. It's just an awesome, and when you get an experience, that's like the biggest thing, is when you go and investigate and you actually get something that happens, you have a personal experience, you see something, or you're doing analysis and you get an EVP. It's just like addictive. It's just like, I want more. You want to experience more and more of it. So and back then in 2003, there really weren't a lot of paranormal shows. I think Ghost Hunters was just coming out, so they kind of put that on the map in on TV, showing the world, hey, this stuff's real, and then as more and more shows come out, it gets more accepted. So a lot more teams start to form, and we do interviews. Everyone in the group that you see here, they were interviewed. I didn't know them personally. They all contacted us, and we interviewed them, and that's it. That's how it works.
I got a question.
Sure.
I'm back.
No problem.
When you go to the site, when you go to the sites, because I'm very interested on psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I dealt with that a long time ago. And do you realize when you bring the psychic with you, she's the one that pulls the spirits? You know that.
Well, she's here tonight. Where is she at?
Because usually the psych is the weakest one, that the purest spirit that could bring in the souls in. And that will help the issue. Like, the Amityville Horror. I was in that house.
Okay.
And there was times that they swore people that they heard people. And when I walked in there, I had met him to begin with. And I actually knew his voice. And I knew his mom. I know that could be something that you're born with that feeling. You have that power, and you don't realize it till you start working with it. And the only way you can work it is with the dead spirits. And if you take it to the field, that's how your spirits come out. Now give me your point of view. Did I touch something? Did I touch something sticky?
I'm not sure. Are you saying that psychics bring the spirits out, or
bring it out? Yes, exactly. Because what happens is that being that you're there, they know that you are such a strong that could bring them in. And if you're at that point where they're looking for these people, you will be the one to bring them out. Strongly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't think that they won't go to other people too. What was that?
But do you find that you're very helpful in this matter?
I would have to ask that. I hope that I am. I try to be helpful. I guess I would have to ask my other team members their opinions on that.
Yeah, because I think that's definitely.
Do you have opinions?
I looked into somebody. I can
looked
jump in
into
on
these
that a little
things
bit
long
just
time.
because I've been, investigated with Shannon. Like, she definitely brings a different dynamic to an investigation, as well as other members of our
Right.
psychic department. But I mean, I definitely, like, I by no means, I'm not psychic or anything like that, but I can say I've almost experienced through Shannon and had things enhanced because she was there. So I definitely do think there's something to what you're saying. And I
Her
think
strength, exactly. The power she has, the strength she has is what the people, those spirits look. Because a psychic, basically, when she does any kind of a reading, is what she brings in the spirits to the table to see whether or not the other person is what she's looking for. So if you guys are out there and you have her with you, she's one of your big strength towards this.
so.
That's my point of view. That's
I kind of look at it this way: if you go to a foreign country, say you go to Italy and you don't speak Italian, but you run across someone there who speaks English, who are you gonna be attracted to? Who are you gonna go to and ask for directions? You're gonna go to the person who understands you and can explain it back. I think that's what Shannon and other psychics do on investigations. They're the tour
That's
guide.
what I was wondering. That's what I was wondering if you guys really feel that by having her with you. That's because very unusual to have a psychic on something like this.
Yeah, I'll say as the
And
assistant tech manager, I deal with all the equipment and stuff like that, and it's really nice. I mean, I think of the psychics in our group as sort of like maybe just another piece of equipment where I might be somewhere where just stuff that's powered by batteries and stuff, and I might be getting a little something, but I don't know. But if I have Shannon over there or one of the other psychics having an experience and I'm standing to the side with an EMF detector and it's freaking out, that's two different ways to sort of verify a situation that's occurring. So it's definitely
and
probably
you
one of the
say
best
that, right?
tools.
And you see that when you do these things, right?
Yeah, it's usually, I'll check in with one of our psychics. How do you feel? And they'll say a quiet night. And I'll be like, yeah, everything's off. Nothing's working. And if they feel weird, usually there's blips on equipment.
It's so interesting. And thank you so much for talking to me about it. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
You got it. Are there
Does
any other
anyone else
questions?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any other questions? Otherwise, we could probably wrap this up. All right. Well, I would like to thank everybody for coming, and thank you to Michael and Connor and Michelle and Shannon for
Thank you
for tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Everyone have a good night.
Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.